Oh, right, all right, guys. We've got Vitality Solar in the top left side of the map. He's playing up against Trap, who just unceremoniously bopped me with Adept Oracle pressure. His Oracle micro is disgusting. Trap has always been one of the best players at keeping his Oracles alive, zooming through mineral lines and blasting those drones. Adept's getting chronoed. We're going to see a second chrono? I think we will. I think Trap's going to be happy to lean into the heavy pressure. Second Adept's on the way. We'll see if a chrono lands on that in a moment. And no, just chronoing probes. Okay, so it's a very economic opening. Just a single Adept going to try and be a little bit of a nuisance, but nothing more than that. Solar's going to go Creep Tumor. Notice he's gone for a standard fast link speed, so that's the way to do it. Just had to have a bit of a cough there, but let's see if this game works out to be well. I think Trap is looking really good in PvT. He's been beating Beyond a lot, but PvZ is a trickier beast. And we'll see if he can, you know, manage it against a guy like Solar, who, to be fair, Solar's a more aggressive Zerg. He's not the best at a slow defensive macro game, but he'll defend early for the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then he'll explode at you, and he's very good at doing that. So I always feel like Hero seems to be one of the best at taking out Solar. And Hero is a mixture of unpredictably super aggressive attacks, but also an ability to just micro his heart out with a few units and try to defend and hang on. Depth's shading backwards right now. Stalker damaging the Overlord. Not going to quite kill it, but the Oracle will come out, spot the pillar, and allow him to finish that off, no doubt. Oracle and 2 Adepts on the other side of the map. That means the third base is wide open. Ooh, probe kill into potential Nexus cancel. This Oracle can save it. As long as it turns its laser on straight away. And it does. Okay, Nexus survives. Takes a bit of a beating, but that's okay. Adept's coming in on the third. They're going to pick off a drone, and they're going to shade in behind that natural. Nice Evo chamber block. I like the micro from Solar so far. Very well done. He's got some Lings out as well. They'll really help him defend this. The Lings going into the main base, and oh, nice Adept positioning. Does block them. So the Adept's able to get 2 drones before they go down. Not too bad. Units lost tab, as you can see. 3 drones. Oh, 4 drones. Sorry, Oracle just arrived in the third and got 3 drones there. That's big. That's very big. Those 3 drones. Very nice execution of the chaos. Now, Solar's still at 42 drones, and he's got his Lings flooding across this map for the counterattack. And that's the thing, guys. If you don't have a quick Ling speed, you can't force the Protoss to stay at home with any of their units, and that's one of the problems you run into. Whereas Solar does a really good job here of defending, but also counter-pressuring and forcing Protoss to be honest at home. And that's something I've been working on. Builds that skip Ling speed, and I think they're really good to mix in against a defensive Protoss player who doesn't realize you're skipping Ling speed, but I think otherwise it does cause a big weakness, and that's something that playing against the best Protoss players has really made me realize is they are so good at punishing a player who does skip out on Ling speed in this matchup. Oracle gets himself a Creep Tumor, goes back again. Oh, a bit too greedy though. Those Oracles will get pushed out. 52 workers against 55. Doesn't look like Solar has any aggressive plans. I gotta say, guys, he's building a third gas. I expect a fourth and fifth gas after that 4th hatchery goes down. There we go. Bam, bam. Just good priorities to set up for a macro game, because you want to get that 4th mineral line up and going if you are playing a longer game. Feels really bad to be stuck on 3 base mining against Protoss, but once you get that 4th up, really helps you. Oh, there was no Spore there, so he does dive past the Queen, takes some damage, gets 3 drones in mining time. Well done. Oracle at home as well. Damn, how many Oracles is this? Okay, it's only 3, but I guess just those 2 have done so much pressure on the other side of the map, it sometimes feels like more. 5th and 6th gateways on the way. Bit of a supply block here for Trap, and that is unfortunate, but at least he's on 60 probes. He's got his minerals saturated, so all he's missing is a few probes to mine the gases, as well as delaying a couple of Stalker warp-ins. Trap's going to come back to try and defend these Lings, and then potentially look to secure a 4th base. He's gone Templar Archives. He does pylon wall his base, as he was supply blocked for a second and couldn't warp in. Infestation Pit goes down. Solar wants to play Lurkers. Interesting. I feel like macro game into Lurker is going to be where Trap's a much stronger player. I think surprising Trap with a Queen Walk is probably one of the better strategies on Oceanborn. Hydrogen Infestation Pit on the way. 4 drones do go down. Robo starts up at home as well. +2 attack. 4th Nexus finally on the way here. I say finally. 6:50. It's actually pretty early. It's still pre-7 minutes, right? Probes finally being built to finish this expansion. And of course, as he's gone to 6 gases, Solar starts to rally out to the 4th and go straight to 8 gas. My man wants to build a lot of Lurkers in this game. A lot of lurkers. We haven't seen a lot of Viper focus, and especially against Storm, you don't really want that. But I'd say the weakness here for Trap is if he doesn't get enough Robo units out in time, Immortals, etc., he could really struggle very hard. Now, he lost one of his Oracles, guys. Overall units lost tab is in favor of Trap, but not so massively. He's going to do another Revelation. He's got just enough energy to kill one more active Tumor. Queens are going to replace that, but this at least slows down the creep explosion just a little bit. Stalkers and High Templar have been spotted. So you know you're up against Storm. Viper's not a priority. Just mass Lurker and go, go, go is very likely to be the priority. I wonder if he even skips +2 range. Sometimes players will do this and really prioritize the first Lurker attack, having as many Lurkers as possible, which can be exceptionally effective. Oracles rotating around the north. There is a Spore Crawler on that base, so it is defended. Roach Ling looking good. Fleet Beacon on the way. I hate this transition. This is the old school way Protoss players used to play back in the old Void Ray times and stuff, where players would just rush Sky Toss off next to no supply. It makes him incredibly weak to the Lurker timing. It's unnecessary. If you get to 6 carriers, it's great, but I'm telling you, a 2 Stargate 6 carrier transition is so slow. Actually, there's no second Stargate. This is just a Mothership transition. I still think second Robo is way more important than getting Mothership. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but yeah, Time Warp's good. Cloaking Field's not bad. Recall can be good. But second Robo and Immortal production needs to be a priority in this sort of game. Stalker Storm can only hold back Lurkers for so long. +2 range does come in, but there's also a second Evo chamber, Hydra upgrades. There's a lot of upgrades. So Solar's clearly happy to play a longer game. He wants to get his 10 gases up and play into that later stage. Immortal production now starts with a second Robo, Mothership, and +3 weapons for Trap. Trap is obviously coming from a time when Double Forge wasn't as popular as well, so I wonder if he's practiced any of the Double Forge styles. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Trap's been back for, I don't know, a month or two now, I believe, guys. He was immediately beating Beyond in the weekly cups when he got back, but struggled against the Zergs and against the guys like Max Pax and Hero, the very best PvP players. Second and third Stargate transition does come in. He is chrono boosting those Immortals right now. I mean, it seems pretty fluid the way Trap's doing this. I was critical at first because I thought he was rushing carriers, but the fact that he's gone double Robo makes me pretty happy. He's got cannons everywhere as well. The only base, he's got cannon battery in the natural, cannon battery on the third, battery on the... sorry, battery on the third, cannon battery on the fourth is what I meant to say there. That Immortal gets focused down. Nice little Roach Ling trade for Solar. I like this. These are units he doesn't really want anymore necessarily. Just trading them out for anything you can get. Creating little small skirmishes is always a good way to play it. 10 gas is now up. Mass Lurk is going to move across the map. And without any Immortals in front of it, look, now you're separated. You need to recall this army right now. Nah, he's dead. If he needed to immediately recall that army. Otherwise, the Lurkers are going to get positioned. I think he might just be dead, guys. This is such a problem for Trap. This is what I'm saying. This army is so weak. And if you get caught out of position just once, the Lurkers are going to get an amazing siege position. That Immortal is holding very strong with the battery overcharge, killing quite a few Roaches, but it will go down. Immortal's rallying out of the natural, going down as well. He's lost most of his Immortals, guys. He's already lost 3 of them. And I mean, you can drop Storms. You can't fight this, Trap. What are we doing? No! Trap not watching for a second. Loses 2 High Templar. Lands a decent Storm. That base is in jeopardy. Maybe the carriers come out in time. There's only 9 Hydras. Maybe Trap can recover here. But I think he played an unnecessarily fragile style in this game where getting up the double Robo Immortal and keeping his army in a central position to block Solar was really important, but by moving up to pressure that ramp, he exposed himself to the counterattack, and Solar, with a very decisive move, does massive, massive damage. Trap needs to recall out now. I mean, otherwise he's going to get jumped on, guys. He's got to get out. He needs to realize. Recall, recall, recall. Dude, recall. Oh my gosh, he's just sitting on the Zerg side of the map. Oh, Trap, Trap, Trap. He's got to be careful, mate. I mean, good Storms, but it's time to go home, man. He's trying to rebuild more High Templar, Carriers, Immortals, Archons, Zealots, anything he can to hang on. 4 cannons in the battery, normally a good defensive beginnings to a setup, but in this case, not going to do too much. Well, they will get 1 Lurker, 2 Lurkers. At least he got 2 Lurkers down. It's better than nothing. Should be recalling these probes, but I think he already used his recall. Indeed, he did, which means all 20 probes are trapped right now. He's going to try and go for a counterattack. Oh, this is a rough one. All these probes down the bottom getting cleaned up by the Roach Ling. Solar trying to run home right now. I mean, this army's not scary. It's a High Templar, a couple Stalkers, a couple Zealots going to go for a counterattack up north. And the Lurkers and the Hydras, I think, are more than happy to deal with this. +2 range is done. There's no Carapace upgrades, whereas there is +1 air weapons, but with only 4 carriers on the map, I don't see this as being a huge threat. Nice, a duck comes in. Mum is going to go down. She does time warp before she falls, but with lurkers covering the ground, the air cannot engage there. I think Trap had an amazing position in terms of the setup, but he's got to watch out for these sort of lurker moves. They are very, very dangerous. As an armchair caster pick, I disagree. The Mothership transition is so good. I mean, I love Mothership. I just think getting your Immortals out is such an important part of making sure you're not weak to lurkers. Stalker Storm kind of sucks diddly-doos, but if you just prioritize the Robo transition before the carrier transition, it's so much more important. And I just feel like Trap, he started it, but he wasn't very early on it. As a result, he's in a very fragile position. He gets caught out of position. But, hey, Storm's doing well against the Hydras. He's on such a low economy. The problem is Trap kind of needs to just make a play soon. He's trying to rebuild a 4th on the right side. Corruptors are coming out. Solar adding 3-1 upgrades. +1 air as well. And he's looking really good. All right, we've got High Templar warping in at the 3rd base. Triple Robo is up behind this. I see that triple Robo earlier. I would have loved to see. Immortals are very expensive. It's a very expensive transition, but once you get a core of like 5 to 7 Immortals out, they tend to not die unless you have a disastrous engagement. And that's where they give you the value over time. Nice feedback on the Viper. Good Psystorm on the Hydras as well. It's a very small army here for Protoss, though, and the Corruptors coming in. We need Storms on those Corruptors. We need Archons on those Corruptors. Carriers are going to get wrecked, man. He needs the Archons on the Storms, but it feels like his screen was centered in kind of the wrong place there, and still not storming the Corruptors at all. I guess he doesn't want to storm his own Interceptors down too much. But a couple of carriers go down. Good snipes for Solar there, who's trading incredibly well. Dead even on the unit trading. 18,700 for both sides, but you're on 10 gas. You're fully established in this setup. You've got spines behind your mineral lines. Viper's just gathering energy time and again. The only thing I'd add is that he should be transfusing those Vipers, right? If you could transfuse those to make sure he can keep recycling them. I don't think he's lost a Viper this game. It's a few Roaches, Corruptors, 6 Lurkers. 46 Hydras have gone down. That's where the most expensive losses have been for Solar. Look at this now. He's catching a Void Ray as well. The Void Ray rally is in trouble. Trap's trying to basically say the best defense is a good offense. He's going to push in here with the Immortal Storm Carrier. Corruptors come forward though. And he's going to lose a Carrier, an Archon, a High Templar, and an Immortal for a Hatchery Snipe, which I think Solar's happy to take that trade because he's the one who's got a big income advantage. So all you really do is... Why is his income so low? Oh, this base was undersaturated for some reason. Looks like it got harassed by Zealots. Ah, okay. There we go. Lurker's coming in now. Going to start sieging the 4th. No real answer to this. Trap just keeps counterattacking as a desperate ploy to pull these Lurkers away from his bases. But he doesn't have the support for it anymore, man. The Corruptors could just shift click. He doesn't even care. Like, yeah, you can just eat the Storms. Doesn't really matter too much. And he will take out those carriers. Trap made the mistake of moving down this ramp, guys. Solar just unburrowed, ran through the middle. And these rocks weren't down. He needed to, if he instantly recalled that army back, I really think he could have gathered up and defended the Lurkers out here. But once he got separated from his bases, he was screwed. All right, that was a pretty sick opening and play for Solar. Happy to play a macro game against Trap. That shows you confidence. I told you guys, I don't really think that's Solar's forte. I really feel like his best chance of beating Trap should be just doing a big Roach Queen all in, doing his like specialty big shoves in the mid game. But he showed us that he's confident playing a Lurkers and then just shoving across and killing Trap. And Trap... You got to keep track of their army. You know, I got to say, as a Protoss player who's been playing a lot of PvZ lately, you really feel like your army is quite mobile until Lurkers outposition you once or twice. And suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, my army's so slow. Hurry up, High Templar and Immortals. Move faster, you know. Get in, because if they get past you like that and they rank up, they siege up in a good position, it's a problem. Pig, Max Bax is ranked number 2 on Aligulac right now. Do you agree with him being placed there? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? I mean, he keeps beating everyone other than, like, Serral, right? The last 7 weeks, look at his wins in the NA Cup. He's beat Dark, Solar, Hero, multiple times. He wins quite a few series versus Clem, even though he loses more often than he wins, but he wins quite a few versus Clem in Europe. Clem's like a very high-ranked player as well. He beat Maru the last 6 times in a row he played him. He's been beating Raynor more often. Yeah, and he doesn't play against Serral that much because Serral mostly plays LAN tournaments. So obviously if he played LAN, maybe he loses to Serral a little bit more, but I mean, I think he'd get even more wins against everybody else the moment he adjusts to that LAN environment. Purely rating-wise, MaxPax is number 2. Would I say he's the second best player in the world, though? No. And the reason is, even though he is skill-wise, for me, the importance of tournaments matters. So MaxPax isn't really, like, in the running for consideration as, like, how great is this player? You know, how good is this player? Until he actually shows up to the tournaments that matter the most, you can't really be in the running for, like, oh, is he a top 3 player, you know, in the world right now and stuff? I'm like, he's kind of, like, off to the side of the discussion where, like, he's really, really good. But he doesn't play the most important tournaments. So we know his skill is good. But until he goes to LAN, you know, it doesn't mean as much. And that's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Ooh. Adept. This is a super greedy Adept move, guys. It's going to cost him most of the hit points on that Adept. He won't lose it, but he does lose a lot of hit points. Has to shade out there. 2 Zergling kills, which is nice, though. Make Void. Thank you so much for the 100 bitty cheer. Hey, appreciate the love. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're having a great day, mate. And I hope you sleep well tonight. It's a weird thing to say. But, yeah, many people at events come up. They say, hey, I fall asleep to your voice every night. I'm like, that would be weird in a different context, but I have many YouTubies, many streamers that I do the same to. Third hatchery is there as well. Link speed's almost finished. Second gate comes up on the natural. He's going to move a probe out to that third base. Now, the Oracle's just hiding here on the high ground, so if the Lings overcommit, he can pull back. Ooh, gets a creep tumor and shades out. Nice move. Very nice move by Trap. I think he's going to wait. Ah, okay. Oracle comes down. He'll get rid of that one. And does take care of it. Second Oracle's almost out. Probe's a little exposed, but the Adept should be able to defend it. Oracle's going to go north. Dark never puts his all in weekly cups, only in like the biggest tournaments. I mean, he definitely looks like he's trolling, but if you look at Dark's performance at Dallas, half of those games he looked like he was trolling as well, guys. Beyond kind of fell apart against him. And Maru absolutely stomped him. Like it was because the mistakes he was making were very reminiscent of a weekly cup. So as much as I used to think, is he not trying in these weekly cups? I've started to embrace that's just Dark playing the way Dark plays. He's just a scrappy player, and until he plays the very tightest best players in the world, he looks incredible. But him and Solar have been getting dumpstered by MaxPax recently, so it really shows you that players. The Korean players who don't have a lot of experience against him really need some practice against him because he's developed just such a powerful macro style of PvZ. But anyway, that's besides the point. We've got Trap in front of us right now. He's been picking off a few drones with those Oracles. The Adepts have forced a lot of Zerglings out, but I think Solar's got enough Lings to dissuade him from committing to that shade. The Queen's moving. Oh, damn. Bad Queen positioning, though. Very bad. Letting these Adepts and Oracles threaten on that side. I think it's okay, luckily for him. +1 melee is on the way now. Lair only just started. Very late Lair. Equal worker count on both sides. I wonder if Trap plays Gateway Man at all, or is he just going to keep playing Stalker Storm? Trap seems like the kind of guy who really wants to play Stalker Storm repeatedly. I've mentioned Trap kind of feels like a European player, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him play kind of like a MaxPax style, where he does the same sort of style 3, 4, 5 games in a row and just has the little minor adjustments. But otherwise, he's trying to play the perfect macro game, more or less. You can see here, he's not supply blocked on 85 this time. And he's going to go up to 8 gates. So it's an 8-gate, 3-base blink by the looks of it, guys. I think we'll see a Prism first out of the Robo and then an Observer behind that. Maybe not even bother with the Observer since he has Oracles for Revelation. Yeah. Chrono should be happening on that, but maybe he's already been using all of his Chrono. She's going to take 5th and 6th gas. I'm not sure if that's a misdirection, though. Or if he's actually planning on using those. Extra pylons going down. Gonna be pretty heavy Stalker pressure. If he can cancel the 4th of Solar, that'll be big. Solar's done a good job of getting creep in that direction. And he's got a big Ling army. There are Adepts and Oracles behind this, though. As we know, Oracle's very good at dealing with Zerglings. Good transfuse for Solar. Oh, the Queens, if they can focus the Oracle, that'll be big. One of the Oracles very low. You do not want to lose those Oracles. He loses one. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Back at home, Zealot does deal with the Zerglings attacking the wall off. That was a really big mistake. Now he has way less insurance behind this. Going from 2 Oracles to 1, that's so much of your support going down. Adept Shade does get cancelled. You don't want to lose your Queens in the meantime. Solar, I think, needs to go for one big overwhelming engagement. He's going to try and surround the Adepts here, and I think that's a decent enough fight. Doesn't have roach speed. He's pulling back right now. The blink back micro, the Adepts constantly shading with that threat. Solar being stuck on 66 workers, but the fact that he defends his 4th is, in my mind, a huge boost for him. And Trap's going 10 gate? Templar Archives? What? Why would you go 10 gate on 3 base? I don't know. If you want to play mass gateway units, you need a 4th base. Trap feels like he's lost track of his production here. Oh, that's huge, though. I like that move. Does get the hatchery there for like 1 Stalker and then just runs away. Ooh, would have been nice to see some Prison Micro, but he's distracted by Zerglings attacking his base. Another Stalker goes down there. Back at home, Zerglings being a nuisance, but these Stalkers will finally defend. A few batteries being built on the 3rd. I think Trap's overestimating the fact that he's thinking, oh, Solar's going to go all in, but Solar's got a new 4th up top. He just moves his drones there. He'll rebuild his 5th. Solar's happy to make a hive, make double Evo chamber, and it feels like Trap's the one who's playing very scared. He's building cannons on 3 base. This is really bad for Trap. I think Solar losing a 4th hatchery against a very greedy Trap, it's really bad. It's a death sentence. In this scenario, I actually think Solar's ahead. And it, to me, feels like Trap thinks he's ahead, because he's like, well, you're mining 3 base, so am I. But now he comes in, sees the 4th, and I think it should dawn on him. Oh, this is terrible for me. This is like really bad, dude. He's mining 4 bases. I've only just started my 4th. Maybe not terrible. It might be too strong a wording, but like, yeah, you really need to probe that 4th base up, round out your tech with a 2nd Robo here, and go heavy into that Immortal Storm Army to be ready to compete at Hive Tech. Solar is, of course, going to go double gas here, and then he's going to take the 2 gases on his 5th at about the same time, I would imagine. For now, only 1 gas. Interesting. I guess he's got 1,000 gas in the bank because he went so Zergling heavy, so he's not as focused on it. I just feel like once you get to Lurkers, you can spend 2,000-3,000 gas like it's nothing. Great Storm. Good blink back micro as well. Oh, Lings are getting in. Zealot decides to walk out of the choke point like a dum-dum. Some warp-ins will be needed in the main. Trap's going to keep pushing the front like a crazy person. He better warp in some Zealots in that main, man. He's just not paying attention to the main at all. Trap is just trying to win. He's trying to go hero style and win with a big commitment, but one of his High Templar with energy dies before it can storm. It's a good push. It's doing well, but 14 probes have gone down. He finally warps in Zealots at home. And Solar is going to tap out there. Wow, that's a pretty early leave for Solar, but I can understand it. I think he basically said, look, this army's a bit too big, and you can kind of see that he was losing that fight, and he was about to lose his 4th base and all of his drones on it. I would have liked to see him hang in there a bit longer, but GG's. All right, guys, going into the next game, Solar's going to get blocked on the natural, having to take the 3rd on this map. I really feel like it kind of sucks, but a lot of players have been doing this lately now. It's such an early block for Trap. He was planning to go 14 hatchery, but after seeing the probe, builds 2 more drones, goes for 16 hatchery on the 3rd, and it's just going to be that normal hatch gas pool. Now, Trap, there's a good commitment in that last game, man. It was a pretty damn good push, a very Trap-style push. Just, I'm going to shove in, and it's a sort of decisiveness, I guess, that Hero would win games with. Trap mirrors it there, gets it done. Spawning pool goes down, 115. And we should see this Nexus down in just a moment. Pulling a worker off minerals onto gas as well. Trap wants to play Stargate, as you would expect. What did they used to call him? The, like, Fleet Admiral or Fleet Commander or something? They had some stupid nickname. I never really was the biggest fan of it, but maybe you guys in chat can remind me what it was. Just because he's very good with oracles and controlling flying units in general compared to most Protoss players. On this map, I always wonder what the ZvP meta looks like at the highest level, because we don't see too much of it. It's a tiny rush distance, so we definitely can see Queen Walks just shove across. And the threat of aggression is pretty big. I think it's a pretty good map for Glaive Adept. We've seen a fair bit of Glaive Adept openings, but this is clearly an Oracle opening. As you can see, no Warp Gate in the production tab, so we can get the faster Stargate. about 218. Then we'll see Warp Gate and a second Adept come in soon thereafter. Question is, which comes down first? So yeah, with this build, because he put extra workers on gas, he can squeeze the Warp Gate in and then just barely has enough money to start that next Adept. But no chrono, no double chrono on the Adepts in these games. Interesting. It's just been focusing on chronoing those probes across these two Nexi, getting as much economy as possible. Third base is down for Solar. Link speed has started, fully pulling off gas there to maximize the minerals that you need in this early game. And the Adept says, you know what, let's just get the free damage, the Zergling kill, make sure we can confirm that one. Deny Solar's information. See the way the build lines up, that Oracle starts very nicely there. Probes are pumping. Adept's coming forward now on the front. Where are they going to shade to? Looks like they'll shade towards the main most likely. Ooh, Creep Tomb is always such a juicy pickup. Queen on her own doesn't do a lot of damage. Oh, you really want to focus the weak Adept there. Wouldn't have minded the drones attacking a little bit. Good Spore Trick to at least stop those ones from dying. But one of the drones rallied in the wrong direction and does end up going down there. 3 drones, pretty damn good pickoff for the first 2 Adepts. Not to mention a bit of mining time, 4 Zerglings going down. You do have to be careful taking your third base now behind this. You'll need that second Oracle to rally to it to defend, as there are Lings coming across the map. Next Oracle's going to fly in right now. Queens are moving out. There's a Spore and a Queen in the main, 2 Queens in the third, and a Queen up here towards the natural as well. I like that pullback on the drones. Well done. And, does manage to get the Cocoon. The egg does go down. Second Oracle comes out. We'll defend this third base just barely. Just like in game 1, the Oracle comes out at the perfect time to save the third base. If you're off just a little with a build order like this, you will get punished, but Trap has been on point so far. Good pylon positioning in the mineral line as well. You can see those Adepts they're at a pretty decent choke. It's not a perfect choke point, but it'll do. You can always shuffle them left or right to make them less exposed to Zergling surface area. 2 drones. Oh, we accidentally attacked the unbuildable plate, but 3 drones is still very good. One of the Oracles is deep in the red, though, as the third Oracle rallies out front. Forge and Twilight go down in the main, both by 445. 4 gases are now saturated as well. And an extra probe heading out to the third base. It's going to recall the Oracles from the back corner. 4 Adepts and an Oracle on the front right now. Solar having to build more Zerglings. He's only got 7 Zerglings, 6 Queens. Getting up 17 Zerglings is a good idea. Oh, the Adepts split up. I like this. Those Adepts will finish into the third base while the other 2 cancel. Going to grab himself 2 drones and a couple Zerglings before he goes down. Hey, not too bad. Mining time as well is always quite useful. Remember, every time you force those workers off the patch, it does do a little bit of damage. Oracles and Adepts dancing around. Ooh, Overlord on the high ground goes down. Oracle, laser it. Laser it. Oh, don't lose your Stalkers, mate. Oh, that's a huge pickoff for Solar. That's huge. Solar with a massive pickoff there. Oracles are going to come in from behind. And good pullback by Solar. The Oracles turn on their laser. They come back. He gets 2, but he loses an Oracle for it. It's an overcommitment. Great defense by Solar. Solar's up on 5 gases now, guys. You can see that economy looking much better for him. He's going to rally those extra workers down to the third, try and get a 4th base up as well. You can see he's sending a drone down there. So his 4th base is a little slower this game. It's past 6 minutes, doesn't have it up yet. We've already got 4 more gateways coming down. So 8-gate blink again. Trap, wow, really committing to the 8-gate blink here. I mean, it's not a bad style. We've seen a lot of players just push with the blink up here. A lot of players would proxy gate in the middle of the map. He's gone for a Robo, though, so I do expect that Warp Prism to be coming out. It's not a bad way to play it. Do melee and range upgrades both help Queens? No, just range. Just range. They are a ranged attacking unit. Even though units like Queens, Roaches have like a special attack animation for when they're in hand-to-hand combat. Hydras as well. They'll still be getting the ranged attack upgrades. Overseer does go down there. Now we've got the Robo Bay coming in, guys. Robo Bay, third base. It's up on 6 gas, so he's not going to commit as hard to the blink aggression. It's still a commitment, but not as insane. Zealot's going to be getting surrounded here by half the Zerglings. The other half run in, force some Zealot warp-ins, and then pull back. Some roaches here. Spire's trying to build for Solar. That's a very late Spire. I never enjoy a Spire starting at 720. I'd rather not have a Spire at all than start a Spire that late. That always feels real awkward. It's a lot of Stalkers warping in on the front. Robo Bay is about to finish. Ooh, new shield battery gets killed. Nice snipe there for Solar. Really good activity rate for him with his Zerglings. Taxing, traps, multitasking. Oh, the stasis trap does get set off by those Zerglings. He was trying to stop that from happening. But he gets the Overseer nicely. Keeps picking off units wherever he can. So far, units lost tab is in favor of Solar. He's been more efficient. Trap's got to be careful. He starts Colossus. At this point, you do not want to make any more Stalkers. Any more Stalkers you make is terrible. And the problem is that he's getting pushed back and there's a Spire on the way, so that swap could be really nice. Seeing the 8 gas is pretty big. If you can see the lack of a hive, that'll really tell him what he needs to know. And that is that there is a Spire transition on the way. Because why would you go 8 gas? Well, it's either because you're going hive for lurkers or you're gassing up for Mutalisks. Don't know where that Spire is. Let's find it, guys. Looks like it's in the back of the main base. Oracles are not going to see the lack of a hive. And that is very unfortunate. It's a heavy Zergling army. That in itself is not so unusual, though. 4th Nexus goes down. He's on 21 Stalkers. You can't do this with just Stalker Zealot Colossus. It's such a bad army in the long term. Templar Archives does go down. I mean, sometimes people do it, but it's not the greatest. And I'm really wondering, guys, because if we just see more Stalkers warping in, I feel like Trap is going to struggle very hard. As it is, 15 Mutas are popping out as we speak, guys. They're all gathering in the north of this map, trying to hide, group up, and then all go in at once. Now, Trap's going to move out right now. Looks like he's warping in. He's warping in Colossus. He's making more Stalkers right now. The Mutas are going to be such a surprise for him. Zerglings on the bottom hitting his probes. The army does do well for him against the Roach Ling that it runs into. But already you can see that natural getting jumped on. The late Mutalisks, I'm not a big fan of it normally, but they seem to have caught Trap with his pants down. Trap's now going to commit to a push to the other side of the map, realizing it's too late to come back and defend. Those probes all got trapped by the Zealot rather than mineral walking and died. 24 probes have already fallen. This looks really good for Solar. Seems to have Trap's number today. Trap committing so hard to 8-gate. It just feels like it's not as efficient a style as, like, if you look at the way Max plays, where he'll take 4 bases and double forge and all the tech off just 6 gateways. It feels to me like that sets you up in a much greedy position, whereas Trap, he goes 8 gates, but he doesn't really do that much with it. And it feels like this gives Zerg a little bit too much room to be cheeky. Even though he ended up winning that previous game, this looks so good for Solar now. He can just full-on base trade for sure. These High Templar need to be morphing into Archons. Stalkers are going after the Spire. There's only 19 Mutalisks on the map. But look, these Stalkers in the bottom get jumped on. Yeah. And buying that time to have more macro is so huge for Solar. He should be building a spawning pool down the bottom as well to make sure he can keep building Zerglings. Maybe a Roach Warren as well. These Mutalisks looking for pickoffs potentially. He's thinking about going in on top of stuff. We'll see how he goes. Stalkers killing some of these Mutas as they pop out. One of them does escape from the main base. Roaches and Lings coming back as well. He's left some Lings in the main. He's going to come back and defend his economy. Says, I've got 24 drones. I've got a hatchery. I'm going to rebuild my spawning pool, rebuild my lair. And it feels like Solar is happy to rebuild. I would have gone 100% on the base trade, personally. Or at least with the Roach Ling continued on the base trade, but doesn't want to fight into the Cannon Archon, apparently. And it looks like as Trap moves down here, I think Trap should realize Recall is actually the smarter move. Yeah, he sends the Zealot out. He's like, hey, where's your army? And I think Recall might just be it. He's going to chrono probes right now. There's 12 probes on this map. A bunch of them are on the other side of the map. Might be time to control-click the idle worker button and send those bad boys home. Oracle's going to try and throw some stasis traps down. Mutas say, ooh, free Oracle. Thank you very much. Don't want to lose these Mutalisks, but see how he goes. Oh, here we go. Moving on to creep. You know when he moves on to creep, the Mutas are like, yes, please. Because he knows if he can surround with the Roach Ling and jump on top and kill the Colossus with the Mutas, he'll crush this army. 27 drones are up, building a Roach Warren right now, making a few more Zerglings. 16 probes for Protoss. And I love that recall. Beautiful timing on the recall, realizing, you know what, it's only a matter of time till I get jumped on. I got to gather up my forces. If you get a few more Archons, that would be huge. But he did lose his Templar Archives. That's always a high priority in these sort of games, is snipe the Templar Archives. Because Archons adding that splash damage against Lings and Mutalisks is massive. Ooh, Ling's going in, taking out some of these probes. Thank you very much for the tip, a lamb goofball. I'll answer that question in just a sec as we are in a bit of a base trade. This game could get very intense. One Mutalisk goes down, make it 2. Good blink forward. Cannon Stalker Stasis Trap defending this base on the ground. Now this is where the Mutas are going to try and harass in the main base and pull him apart. And I really feel like Solar could send his Roachling on the ground at the same time. But oh my gosh, he's losing another 2 Mutalisks here. You got to be careful, mate. Trying to build some Phoenixes as well. Nice micro from Trap, but microing single Phoenix, I always feel like is a bit of a fool's errand. As, oh gosh, the mineral line's exposed. Run those probes away. 3 probes going down. Significant portion of his economy. He's repowered with the Prism. The Stargate right now. Does have recall not ready for quite a while. Solar's up to 35 drones. So Solar should just be able to outscale him from this sort of scenario, especially with these mutas getting a few more probes. I don't think Trap can win from this situation. Hey, I don't really know StarCraft very well, says Lamb Goofball. I'm a Red Alert guy. How would these players stack up against my buddy Mr. Stoned One? I mean, I know Mr. Stoned One from watching StarCraft. I didn't realize, is he a very high level Red Alert player? I never played competitive Command & Conquer. I mean, I remember the original Red Alert playing on dial-up with my buddies. But, and you know, I remember a giant... Oh, hold on. You just try to get the Colossus. A couple more Mutalisks are bleeding out here and there. The Phoenix coming out as well. I mean, Solar's army supply is so far ahead. He's got 28 Roaches, 8 Ravagers. That might be able to beat this on its own, but he is losing a lot of Mutalisks here. Lings are going to run in the main. That's going to be an excellent maneuver there. And looks like it is just going to be one big push. Mutas are going to go down, it looks like, but the Roach Ravager Ling is going to go. Surprised Solar didn't attack from 2 sides. I really thought he would sandwich this army. He's just got so much stuff. I don't think it matters, to be fair. He's just going to roll over the top with sheer numbers. And not a lot of finesse with how Solar engaged there, but it doesn't matter because he macroed back up and built an unbeatable army. GG. Well played.